And, overall, the first thing that comes to my mind is the biggest challenge, I think, for any company in the world and that I've seen while visiting more than 200 companies. And it's the challenge of leadership, right? Like how to be the best version of yourself every single day, more than 300 days a year, when we're all humans, right? And we all have our own lives. And, I haven't seen the transformations that have happened, with the power of kindness. And I think in that sense, thinking about working with incredible people, right, I think is one of the best things you can do for leadership, is what the kindest thing you can do for your company. And, when you have people that complement you and are better than you in many other things, such as Nicole, who is our host today and our speaker, and life is so much better and life is kind and thoughtful. And, as we embrace the end of the year and as we think about 2025, you know, kindness becomes more important than ever. And today's talk is exactly about that. You know, uh, as founder, CEO of KindWorks, is a statement that the world can't continue as it's going. The way people are working and living and dreaming has a huge opportunity of change. So the human experience overall can be better. And when that happens, we've seen incredible results with our clients, with our users, and with our context and surroundings. And the invitation today is to share this. So with that, we have an incredible leader, Nicole, who through her work with the team at KindWorks and our team work together to drive this transformation to the world is important, and thinking about how we thrive, how we lead, how kindness drives success during times of changes is more important than ever. I'm super excited to see so many familiar faces joining here. And overall, we have great content and great opportunities to share. And as an organization with the incredible partners and people that have been throughout our journey, that I see many of them here, we're just getting started. So let's get started, Nicole.
Thank you, Daniel. Yeah, I'm really excited to chat today on kindness as the foundation for, as Daniel said, how we can all thrive together, not just at work, but out of work. We see it in the data, we see it in the work that we do with people. It truly is the best thing that we can do as humans to work better, feel better, live better. And we're at this really crucial moment, again, as Daniel said. I think we're all here because we know change is more rapid than ever. And while we talk about that all the time, I don't think we talk enough about what that change does on the toll for human beings and us as humans in this, time of AI and, things are being introduced at a pace never before. Kindness is a skill that we as humans is really unique, and it is something we can practice and get better at. So we're going to talk about how we do that, what kindness is, and how we can bring that into our work and beyond. A little bit about me and why I'm even talking about this. So I am the co-founder or COO with KindWorks AI. And what we have at KindWorks is a platform to help visionary leaders really unleash the full potential of their people through kindness. So by increasing connectivity, well-being, and results. My background's all in marketing with a basis in sociology. And I always said I have a passion for people, for human beings. I wanted people to help people be happy, both in and out of work. When I dove into the research on kindness, when I started with KindWorks about 3.5 years ago, I was like, this is what I've been preaching my entire career. It's not just be nice, it is true human connection. And it's what allowed me to lead and manage in complex organizations, from huge organizations like Anheuser-Busch or University of Chicago down to smaller startups like we're in today, because businesses are made of people and we have to treat each other as such. That's how, especially again, in these rapid times of change, that we make things work. So we're going to talk about what is kindness. I'm going to start with that. Why it's really important at the workplace, especially during times of change. We'll chat through a couple of success stories, results, the data, and then some practical tools as well. I will have time for questions at the end, but if you have questions throughout, feel free to put them in the chat. Miguel, you can feel free to interrupt me, or anyone feel free to interrupt me, or I can take them at the end as well. So again, I want to start with why we're here to talk about kindness and what we mean by kindness. As I mentioned already, it's more than just be nice. It is sincerity and honest conversations. I would say having positive intent for the other person and assuming positive intent from them. It might be a difficult conversation, and doing it to help ourselves and to help each other. And when we give the toughest feedback, often that's actually the most difficult thing, but it's the best form of kindness. And it's about being intentional. It's the little things, it's the big things, and it's something that we can truly practice every day. Some just examples of what this is, and I'll go through more throughout the presentation. You know, that idea of sharing constructive feedback with a colleague to help them grow, or kindness to self too. It's really important that we practice kindness to self. And we often don't think about this as being important, even at the workplace, but it's so important for us to bring our best selves and to reach that full potential, to forgive yourselves and let go of a mistake that you've made. So all of these are really how we think about defining kindness. And I also wanted to share a little bit about why we have built a company based in kindness. So this is just a short 30-second video on really what we believe.
We believe that every human is born kind. As individuals grow, we do our best to maintain this innate kindness. But as the stresses of life increase, kindness begins to move from our natural choice to something that requires more conscious thought. We believe we can reverse that cycle because we know kindness is like a muscle that can be trained and grown. The more kindness we practice, the more innate it becomes, ultimately getting us to a place where kindness becomes our natural choice again. And when you choose kindness, and I choose kindness, and they choose kindness, we are all happier, more connected, more productive, more resilient, and so much more. We collectively take steps toward kinder and more connected communities that we can all build and thrive in together.
Excellent. So before I go into some of the data and really why we're starting at the workplace, I want to take a quick moment and do what we call a kind starter. And this is, you know, a way to just ground ourselves in kindness. Reflect on a kindness that you received recently that made an impact on you. It could be something small, something big. Just take a minute, think about that, and then think about how it made you feel. If you want to share what that is in the chat, that's great, or how it made you feel. If it made you think of someone, maybe send them a quick text to let them know you're thinking of them. I'm just going to give everybody 20 seconds. And welcome everyone who's joining as well. If anyone wants to share in the chat how, just a word of how that made you feel reflecting on it, that'd be wonderful. Words we often hear are relieved, happy, relaxed, optimistic, words like that, which hopefully help ground in a way to help you, again, be your best self. So I'm not going to go into all of charts on change and all of that, because that's, again, why we're all here today is because we know we're living in this time where change is increasing at this pace that none of us feel that we can keep up with quite often. But the challenge we have is that it is truly having a huge toll on us as humans, on how we feel, how we're able to interact with our colleagues, how we are able to interact even with our friends and our family. And what we see is that at the workplace, it's no surprise to everybody here, people are stressed. Almost everyone reports that they experience stress on a regular basis. And when we feel this stress, we're just not able to, again, bring our full selves and be our best at the workplace. They're disengaging. Nearly 3/4 of people self-report that they are not engaged at work. And when we're stressed out, when we're not engaged, we're not being as productive as we can in the workplace. And this has direct bottom line impact on businesses when people are not bringing their best selves, when they're not delivering at their full potential. That productivity loss per employee is really high. And during times of change, what we see is that level of fear actually even increases. And that's one of the pieces that has really gotten into the fabric of our workplaces today, because people are fearful, whether it's for their jobs or for what their next steps are going to be in their workplaces. And when we are fearful, then we are not innovating. We are not collaborating as well. We are not being as productive as we can. And that has these, again, significant results on the business that are hurting us for long-term success. But if we look at kindness, what if there's a way that we can both deliver more with our people as well as make them feel better, improve their well-being? And it's not through spending millions and millions of dollars on bonuses, but it's a win-win for the business and for the people. So the business win, that improved engagement and collaboration, better business results, so much more, as I mentioned, innovation, all of these other pieces that really affect the business. And it's a win for the people, and they're tied so closely together because people feel better. It increases their well-being. They're more motivated. They're happier in their jobs. They're staying longer. And this is a great, a vicious cycle in the best way possible as a win-win for people and for businesses. That is the proven power of kindness. I will go through some of the data on kindness. There's literally hundreds of research papers. As I mentioned, when I started working with KindWorks, that's really where I started, was diving into the research papers. And we see that direct impact, not only on the individual, but on the communities and on the societies and on the workplaces, that is proven through when we are connecting more, when we are delivering sincere feedback, when we are showing recognition and appreciation. It truly has this impact on the individual and on the business. So if all of that is true, why is kindness not more prevalent at the workplace? There's several reasons that we see for this. One of them is just the way that we talk about kindness at the workplace. So if you think about how we think about what we need to do our jobs, we often think about the buckets of the tools that we need in two buckets. So there's the hard skills. These are the abilities to excel at tasks. So, if you're an engineer, it might be coding. If you're an accountant, accounting, a designer, designing, etc. These are the skills that we need to do our jobs on a daily basis, and they're very important. Then there's the soft skills. These are our abilities to manage and just work with people, communication, time management, collaboration. These are really important, and every business, again, is made up of people. So how we interact, how we manage people is really important in order to do the hard skills that we do. However, what we don't talk about, and what we see as the most fundamental skills as human beings, are what we call power skills. So these are skills like kindness, compassion, empathy, gratitude, sincerity, generosity, that they give us the capacity to learn the soft skills, to learn the hard skills. And they're also the most powerful skills we have as humans, because they're not easy, and they're something that's truly unique for humanity. So yes, AI might be able to mimic empathy or mimic kindness and learn, but it's never going to truly feel and have that human connection to be able to innovate the way that human beings do. And this is especially true as we live in, what can be felt as a transactional workplace or a transactional society. We jump from Zoom meeting to Zoom meeting, and we're not often prioritizing these as skills that are needed at the workplace. But they are truly what is the most powerful thing that we can do to, again, mitigate that disengagement, mitigate that stress, and ultimately have workplaces where we all can thrive and deliver long-term success. So that's one of the reasons that we see it not as being more prevalent at the workplace. And the other is just human biases. So if you think about kindness and practicing a kindness for another human being, there's, again, many research papers about how we feel as givers. And so we as givers often feel, this is systematically as human beings, we think it's going to be more awkward, and we think it's going to be less effective. So just by saying thank you to someone, sending someone a quick note to let them know you're thinking of them, checking in a non-transactional way and saying, how's it going today? What are you working on? We feel like these interactions are going to feel awkward, whereas truly the receiver feels them as much less awkward and much more effective than we ever think that it's going to be. And we're already seeing this in data. I'll go into a little bit about what we mean by the intentional practice of kindness. When we bring that intentional practice of kindness and those power skills as an important piece into every workplace, we then feel more connected. So some of these pieces of how do we mitigate that sense of fear, that sense of disengagement, that sense of stress at the workplace, improving that sense of connectivity. We feel more connected when we're practicing kindness with our colleagues. We feel more appreciated. We see this increase in appreciation over time. And we also feel more impactful. And this is really important because when we feel more purposeful in our role, again, we are more motivated. We're going to stay longer. We're more engaged. And what's even more, when we feel more connected, appreciated, impactful, we're going to encourage others to also be more engaged. Negativity is contagious, and so is positivity and kindness. And again, we see this. And these feelings of disconnection, underappreciation, and lack of feeling of purpose and impact, they're especially high risks during these times of change, which today every company is in just absolutely constantly. And the other piece, as I wanted to talk about, is why it's so critical to sustainable success. So if we know that it has a positive impact on individuals and on businesses, what does that truly mean from a tangibility way in the business world? So again, going back to these power skills, we like to think about this as this fountain of powers, kindness and power skills and business results. So if you start with that foundation of kindness and power skills, that creates healthier and more motivated people who, again, have the capacity to be better at the soft skills and at the hard skills. And that, in turn, has a better internal performance as well as a better external performance. So an internal performance for them as individuals and for the business. And this is what ultimately delivers these better business results when people are staying longer, they're more motivated, they're more productive. And we've started actually translating these into bottom line results for businesses, which are often unseen costs that hit the P&L, but they're massive numbers that we see for the businesses. So for instance, we see the cost of just saving one employee 1 year longer. That is estimated at 2 times the employee salary. For just one person at $100,000 salary, keeping them 1 year longer has significant cost savings for the business. We also did a study with a law firm where we saw an 11% decrease in absenteeism when that law firm is introducing the intentional practice of kindness into the workplace. And when we know that absenteeism, that costs up to 8% of the employee's salary, that's again hundreds of thousands of dollars when people just show up. As well as lost productivity. So, study after study show the increase in productivity. And we also have seen people self-report when they're practicing kindness, this increase in productivity. And so that, again, is hundreds of thousands of dollars in savings for the business bottom line. And we've seen a direct correlation with sales. So this has been a really exciting study that's done with a 300-person sales team who, over the last year have introduced the practice of kindness into their workplace and see it feels like it's no surprise. And then we can actually see it in the data now. When people are practicing more kindness, they're delivering more sales. And so, that hits the bottom line numbers for the business. And then what's even more exciting is the qualitative feedback that we get from people of truly changing their lives, both at work and even outside of the workplace. This is Freddie, who came and grabbed Daniel, who started the conversation here, his arm at a conference and said, I just have to tell you, you've truly changed my life. So not only have my sales increased because I drive a motorcycle around a busy city and I used to curse under my breath at everyone who cut me off, Now I'm thinking maybe they're having a tough day. And so I go into my business sales meeting and I am selling more. But then I also go home and my relationships with my colleagues have improved. My relationship with my partner has improved. My relationship with my son, and my son manages people, and I'm helping him to have tough conversations with the people that he manages. And he's actually seen how this has opened up and helped his team be better too. And so again, we see that when we say kindness is contagious, it is truly in the data and in the stories that we hear, but truly in the data as well. So how do we, again, bring this more into the workplace? The first place to start is that kindness is a skill. And we talked about that already. And we think about the hard skills and the power skills, hard skills and the soft skills, but think about it as that power skill. So if you think about it, the way that you introduce fitness into your daily routines, you introduce mindfulness into your daily routines, kindness is a practice that we need to intentionally bring into our daily routines. Think about it like an exercise that we put on our schedule and our intention for the day, and make that the choice of how we're going to practice. I personally like to think of everything in my day in terms of what's urgent and what's important. And so what I like to say is, often we only do what's most urgent and important in our day, because that's just how the day goes. We're all busy people, we're stressed, again, especially in times of change, when the stresses go up and the pressure goes up. And so but unfortunately, many people put kindness in this box of that it's not urgent, and sometimes it's not, they don't even feel it's that important. And so our intention is, how do we move kindness into that place where it is an intentional part of our day every day? So again, shifting to that foundational culture of kindness. This is all why we built KindWorks AI, which is a platform to encourage and enable intentional kindness to unlock the full potential of people, starting at the workplace. So Benny is an AI agent who shares personalized kindness exercises. Their kindness to self, their kindness towards others. There's kind starters, as we started the entire conversation. And Benny connects through places where people are already interacting. So this example on Microsoft Teams, Benny becomes part of the team to really, again, shift that foundational culture to one where kindness becomes intentional in our daily activities. And it's like a muscle that we work on a regular basis. And as a team, as you see their recognition boards and streaks, and make it fun as well. So again, want to bring just a couple of things of how to bring this, today into your workplaces. What I always say is our exercises are often ones where we want to be doing them, and sometimes we're just not bringing them intentionally in. So again, especially during times of change, listening as an act of kindness, encouraging the most junior team members to share their thoughts before anyone else. There's many ways to do this, but really prioritizing listening. And that again can reduce stress, it can reduce disengagement, it reduces those sense of fear, fostering empathy, starting with questions when we don't agree with someone's idea, starting with questions, really taking that moment to say, not to get defensive, especially as leaders, this is really, really important, starting with listening. Connection to increase engagement. Intentionally connecting non-transactionally. Again, this type of exercise is one that we hear often of. We intend to do this in our daily activities, and all of a sudden, it's the end of the day and we're cooking dinner and we just haven't connected with anybody non-transactionally, especially when we're in remote and hybrid workplaces. So just reaching out to colleagues who you haven't talked to recently and ask how their week is going. What we have heard from people who are practicing kindness with Benny, of doing exercises like this, it opens up conversations that then actually open up new lines of business and new ways of working together. And so just, again, that driving innovation piece of it. Recognizing extra efforts in public channels. Again, intentionally acknowledging the great work of a teammate who has gone above and beyond. It's important to do this directly. It's important to do this in public channels. It means kind of going back to some of those human biases that we often think that maybe it's going to be awkward, but even we often underestimate the impact that it's going to have. These mean more than we often think that they're going to mean. And then giving to celebrate or to create a sense of belonging. Again, especially in times of change, that sense of fear is at a heightened. So how do you make sure people feel that they belong? Sincere feedback with positive intent. Focus on giving feedback to people that is specific and actionable. Again, not shying away from tough conversations, but really focusing on feedback that is specific and actionable. And advocating for others. So maybe introduce someone who's junior, someone in your network to help that person grow. Especially again, in times of change, it doesn't mean that things won't be hard, that sometimes we have to let people go and have difficult conversations. But treating everyone else as human beings with positive intent for how do I help you, how do I help myself, and how do I help the business is really that foundational mindset that can drive long-term success, both for you as a leader, as an individual, for the other person, and for the business. So that's really what I have today. I really appreciate everybody for joining us here. This is just the start of the conversation. We invite you all, again, to join us on this journey. We truly think of this as a journey. And in the 3.5 years that we've had KindWorks, the conversation on kindness has really transformed a lot. I was just in New York about 2 weeks ago at a summit on the kindness effect, where it was a day on kindness at the workplace. And I see that this is truly becoming something that people are recognizing the benefits and the power of it at the workplace. And it's so exciting that we have all of this data and these numbers to go with it now too. And if you're interested in learning more, obviously, feel free to reach out anytime. LinkedIn, Instagram, we have kindworks.ai/podcast is our podcast. Today's episode actually on the podcast is about hard conversations. And it's with a partner of KindWorks who is a consultant who manages during times of transformation. So lots of hard conversations in closing businesses and layoffs and things like that, and how he leads with kindness. It's a really great conversation. I encourage you to take a listen. And the QR code, if you'd like to learn more about the platform, is for a demo as well.
Thank you.
Nicole, and we have a question from Larry Doss.
Yes. What are the critical success factors where you've seen kindness practiced enterprise-wide? Is there a certain type of leader or culture or industry where you've seen it scale and sustained? That's a great question. So a couple thoughts on that. One is that I do always say it has to be from a leadership level and authentic. No one is perfect at kindness is the other thing that I will say. But having that as an intention as a leader, having it be part of the values of the company, I don't think it is industry. We're with everything from banking to CPG and legal and tech. It's not as much industry specific as much as the type of leader who recognizes that this is it is such a huge benefit for the business and is what's going to take them to long-term success. So that similar to the idea of a servant leadership and someone who is going to place this as a value, and a stated value is the other thing I think that's really important, is that it's a stated value from leadership and a priority.
And overall, what we've seen in organizations is when there's intent in the leadership, and we bring KindWorks, and when we bring a framework, right? Like KindWorks is just not an AI agent. It's not just putting a tech there, but it's a whole framework, right? Where first of all, people get to understand, right? That this is science. This is not coincidence. This is actually very rigorous analysis and work that has been done behind this. And when people understand this, right, and they get to do their first acts, and they get to experience it, and they get to see the transformation and the benefits, that's when you can really make things happen. We've seen it, as Nicole mentioned, across all industries, including kindergartens to universities to top performing consulting firms to beauty companies. So overall, exciting thing is that in terms of data and impact, it's not that different across countries or industries, but it's more the intent on the company and how much they embrace, our methodology and product.
Happy to take any other questions as well. Otherwise, I'll say thank you to everybody for joining. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you learned something. I welcome feedback always as well. Or if there's other things that you would have expected or wanted to know out of here, we'll do more of these as the new year comes as well. So if there's other topics that you want us to hit on related to kindness, and again, how we think about defining kindness and sincerity and recognition and gratitude and all of giving and all of these pieces, we'll do more on it in the new year.
Yes, and this is an exciting moment. And overall, I see Larry, I see Carlos, and so many other, Reed, so many important people that have been part of this journey, and we're just getting started. There's exciting partnerships that along the way we're going to be announcing in the next few months, and you are all part of this.